I'm a 23-year-old guy, and I'm in a tricky situation where I'm leaning a bit more in one way than the other, and either need that extra pushover or push back to the other side. Unfortunately, my two siblings, 21-year-old sister and 19-year-old brother, and I are the products of an ongoing affair between my mom, who's 44, and her current husband, who's 43. Technically, he is my bio dad. We did a DNA test, but legally, I am my father's kid. For the purposes of this story, I will be referring to my legal father as Dad, while my bio dad will be referred to as Stepdad. My dad died when I was 12, and I was devastated. I love that man so much that I cite his death as the catalyst for my current lack of faith. When I was 13, my mom married my stepdad, and when I was 14, they both approached me and my siblings about legal adoption. My siblings were eager for a new father, while I was crushed at the idea of everyone seemingly so eager to replace the man I knew and loved. While my mom initially respected my wishes to not be legally his, they both kept trying to convince me, but I refused. For years, I respected this man as my mom's husband, the man who provided for me, but he would never be my dad. I could tell that my stepdad was really hurt by this, especially around Father's Day. I would go out and visit my dad's grave with my half-brother, Dad's first child with another woman, instead of spending the day with him. I guess he got fed up one day, and that's why he decided to tell my siblings and me all the truth. Obviously, this was a huge blow, and I refused to believe it. Hence the DNA test, and I was crushed. It felt like I was losing my dad all over again. My mom decided that it was for the best, and that I no longer had an excuse to not accept the adoption. She was wrong, and I moved out a week after my high school graduation, and went low contact with them. The only ones who seemed to be on my side were my half-brother and my legal paternal grandparents. They accepted that my siblings were lost to them, but in their eyes, I was still my dad's kid. My younger siblings gave me crap about it for years, saying that it was weird to spend time with people I had no blood relation to, and that I was being cruel to our biological paternal side. Our relationship became low contact as well, and I didn't really hear from them again until after my great-aunt died. She didn't have any children and married very well. Since her brother, my grandfather, was the only one to have children, she left most of her money to his daughter, my legal aunt, and to me and my half-brother. Since legally my younger siblings were adopted by our bio dad and they shared no blood relation to her, she didn't consider them family and left them with nothing. My younger siblings heard about the money and think I should split with them equally. I feel like since they chose to be adopted and were so willing to rug sweep what our mom did, that they're not entitled to a dime. Am I wrong? I'm a 30-year-old guy, and I'm currently going through a conflict of morality and need an outside perspective. My parents had me very early, and I was raised mostly by my mom. When I was 12, my mom married my stepdad and had my baby sister Emma when I was 15. When it was time for me to move out and go to college, my sister was very upset. I had to leave when she was asleep. That first year was really rough for her, and she always begged our mom to call me so she could ask when I was coming home. By the time I graduated undergrad, she thought I'd be moving back home and got sad again when I told her I wasn't. I consoled Emma and told her that even though we weren't going to be living together, I would always come to see her, love her, and be there for her. Fast forward to last week, and I get a call from Emma, and she was in tears. She told me that her period hadn't come for the second time this month, and she didn't know what to do. Naturally, I asked if she thought she was pregnant, and she said she never had sex. I asked if she spoke to our mom, but she said she was too afraid because our mom, who thinks no period equals pregnant, wouldn't believe her. And her religious and conservative father would raise hell. I told my sister that I would come get her in the morning. I did as promised and asked my mom and stepdad if it would be okay if I took my sister for the weekend, and they had no problem with it. Emma looked awful, like she hadn't been sleeping well for days, and I was really worried about her. In the end, we decided to go to urgent care, and if anyone asked, I was her legal guardian. They ran some tests and she was not pregnant. Once we had definite proof, I convinced Emma to tell them so we could know what was really going on. I was with her for support, and when she told my mom and stepdad, they were furious. They said that I had betrayed their trust and I had no business taking Emma to a doctor without their permission. I tried to explain my reasoning, but they kicked me out. After a few hours, I got a call from my mom saying that Emma's phone was taken away. They forced her to delete all her social media and said that I couldn't see her until I begged for their forgiveness and swore to always tell them what Emma tells me. I refused and said that if anyone needs to beg, it's them to Emma, because if she felt like she couldn't tell them her health concerns, then they've obviously failed as parents. My mom was very upset by this and said that Emma wasn't allowed to talk to me until further notice. At the time, I honestly felt like what I was doing was right, but I'm not a parent, and I'm starting to question if I was wrong. Am I the asshole? When I took my sister to urgent care, they were able to rule out pregnancy, UTI, and a couple of other things, but they strongly recommended Emma go to the family physician or OBGYN. Because she's still a minor, she's 15, and medical insurance might be necessary. I thought it would be best to tell my mom and stepdad what was going on, especially since Emma would have medical documentation to prove that she wasn't pregnant. I'm a 30-year-old guy, and my best friend got married last week. I just bought a house, and my wife is expecting our son in November, so I let him know I was limited in what I could contribute financially, but did tell him I would try my best. So, I went to the bachelor party in Maine. I rented the tux, and paid for mine and my wife's dinner at the rehearsal dinner. I also had a gift of $300 that I was going to give them, but we'll get to why I didn't give it to them. His now wife, then fiancé, texted me multiple times a day with updates. Fine. I didn't always respond, and it got to the point where if I didn't respond at least once a day, I'd get a call from my buddy. I have a full-time job and I'm redoing some rooms in my house, so I'm busy. She texted me for the following reasons. First, my wife was not allowed to talk about our pregnancy at all. She didn't want anyone to focus on that more than her, the bride. Second, she was not going to order special food for my wife. No one asked her to. My wife was fine with whatever she was going to be served. Third, I was not helping the groom enough. He had to help her with favors, seating charts, and programs, so I had to help him with those things according to her. She also said to get ready to help with thank you notes after the wedding. Fourth, she said if I was a true best man, I would offer to pay for the bar bill. I don't even know what that means. Fifth, she had to read and approve my speech before the rehearsal dinner and wanted to be included as much as my buddy. She told me to make up things if I had to. I was also not allowed to include anyone but the two of them, and no inside jokes or stories about my buddy that didn't include her. Her last text said to tell my wife to keep it together and not make a pregnancy scene during the wedding. Also, she wanted her to choose a dress that downplayed her pregnancy as much as possible. I was just so aggravated. I spoke to my friend to see if he could reason with her. He told me to just play ball on this one. It's her day, and to cut him a break because he'd be dealing with her nonsense for the rest of his life. I was annoyed, but calmed down. The day of, all the bride and my buddy do is scold me, berate me, and bark orders. I head down to the bar for a drink, and the bride's mother is there and warns me not to get drunk because I've ruined her daughter's day enough. Final straw. I didn't give them the card with the cash. And in the speech, I used my friend's exact wording about having to deal with her nonsense for the rest of his life. I wished them the best and told him I'd always be there for him, especially during the divorce. Am I the asshole?